نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين يتلون كتاب الله وأقاموا الصلاة وأنفقوا مما رزقناهم سرا وعلانية يرجون تجارة لن تبور ليوفيهم أجورهم ويزيدهم من فضله إنه غفور شكور والذي أوحينا إليك من الكتاب هو الحق مصدقا لما بين يديه إن الله بعباده لخبير بصير ثم أورثنا الكتاب الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا فمنهم ظالم لنفسه ومنهم مقتصد ومنهم سابق بالخيرات بإذن الله ذلك هو الفضل الكبير. Respectful honorable friends, in last week's tafsir, in the closing verse we had done the verse wherein Allah Ta'ala mentions that إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ, that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentioned the quality of khashiyya. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentioned that it is only the learned ones who fear Him, who have the quality or who have the kayfiyya, condition of khashiyya. Khashiyat is a kayfiyat, a condition which is within the heart of a person, meaning internal. And in the opening verses recited to you now, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions some more qualities of those who have khashiyya, but to do with the external, the actions of theirs. And that is, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَنْ تَبُورَ. That indeed those who يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ, who recite the kitab, meaning the Qur'an, وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ, who establish the salah, وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ, and who spend from that which we have given them, sirran wa alaniya, secretly and alaniya, openly. Yarjuna tijaratan lan tabur, they can have hope for a trade that will never be destroyed. So here Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions some more qualities. And that is, one is إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ, those who recite Allah Ta'ala's book. And here the word yatluna refers to was a literal meaning of those who recite the book. There are those mufassirin who have taken the actual meaning of yatluna as in those who do I.T.A of the Qur'an, those who follow the Qur'an. But majority have taken it in the general form of just the recitation of the book of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, which shows that there is great fazilat in just of the tilawat of the book of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala alone. For each letter a person recites, a person gets minimum 10 rewards for it. And that is minimum. And if a person stutters, person finds difficulty in reciting and they still recite, their reward is increased by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So just in the tilawat of the Qur'an, there is reward for a person. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ. And this verse, as Mutarrif has mentioned, that this verse is that هَذِهِ آيَةُ الْقُرَّى. This is the verse for the Qurra, meaning the fazilat of the Qurra. Because the Qurra are those people who yatluna kitab Allahi ana layli wa ana nahar, that who day and night, they have made the recitation of the Qur'an their occupation. That there is fazilat for them in this verse. So in الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ, and the most effective tilawat of the Qur'an is that in which there is amal of the Qur'an as well. So recitation on its own is worthy and rewarding. But where there is recitation of the Qur'an as well as amal upon the Qur'an, then the rewards of that is much more. So in الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ, they established the salat. وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ, and they spend from that which we have given them. And how they spend, Allah Ta'ala mentions here sirran wa alaniya. So Allah Ta'ala mentions both. They spend secretly and openly. Now we all know that there is great emphasis on doing actions in a manner which is done secretly, wherein there is greater ikhlas in it. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions both, sirran and alaniya, openly and secretly. Which shows us that there are those actions which should be done, which are better to be done openly, and then there are those which are better to be done secretly. For instance, a person performs salat with jamaat, and here in waqamu salat, for man establishing salat is where it is in the masjid. Part of establishing salat is that a person recites and does the salat with jamaat. And salat with jamaat, again, the call towards salat with jamaat is done openly by the muazzin from the masjid. And the iqamat of salat with jamaat is also done openly. It's not done secretly, it is done openly in the masjid. The fuqaha have mentioned that those actions and those deeds which are farz, wajib, those should be done openly. And those which are from the nawafil, those should be done secretly. So for instance, salat, as I mentioned to you, as well as the zakat that is farz upon a person, sadaqatul fitr and qurbani. So those things which are farz or wajib upon a person, they're in order to encourage others, and also for others to know that you have discharged this duty, then it is better for these to be done, for it to be done alaniya, for it to be done openly. So there are many good deeds as well that a person does openly for the reason being is to encourage others as well. Or it is also done openly so that those around know that you have, for instance, in a family as well. When a time of zakat comes, then there will be family members, have you given your zakat or have you not given zakat? Do you give your zakat? Do you not give your zakat? So he said, do it openly so they know that, look, okay, those upon whom zakat is wajib, those family members have given their zakat. Qurbani is wajib on a person, then do it openly so they know that they've done it as well. Salat as well. Otherwise, then they're going to ask me, do you not read your salat? Have you not read it? You say, I have read my salat, but the person reads it secretly in the room the whole time. So it should be done openly in such a manner. And as I mentioned to you, for men to come to the masjid, again, there is not done secretly, it is done alaniya. And then there are those actions which a person should do sirran, meaning those which regard to nafal. So nafal sadqa a person does, nafal salat a person does, and many other nawafil that a person does. And that then, because people are not, it is not important for people to be aware of it. Nobody's going to ask you, have you not given nafal sadqa, have you not done nafal qurbani, have you not read any nafal? Nobody is going to ask you a question about that. And neither in a Shari environment is the hakim going to be questioning you with regard to those deeds. So that which is nafal, that a person should do alaniya. And this is a balance between them. And this is what Allah Ta'ala mentions, and He mentions both here, which shows the importance of both sirran and alaniya. And then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions, يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَن تَبُورَ, that they, by means of these actions of theirs, يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُم, they do what? يَرْجُونَ, they hope for what? Tijaratan, that this will be a trade which is lan tabur, that will never be destroyed. Here Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentions Tijara, which is a business, trade. Lan tabur. Tabur means something that is destroyed. And lan tabur means not for it to be, not for it, never to be destroyed, meaning that there is no loss in it. Before we come to the example of tijara, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala utilizes what yarjuna. That they have hope. Yarjuna means to have hope. That they have hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them for it, which shows us what? That merely our actions are not sufficient for us to be graced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for us to think that we are deserving of the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But rather it is a case of yarjuna. That every believer does good deeds, having that hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we do not do good deeds and think that no, those good deeds are guaranteed, accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it is a case of yarjuna, they have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam has also outlined in the hadith as well, that not every person, no one will enter into Jannah, but through the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Sahaba asked him, even you? He said, even me, حَتَّى يَدْغَمَنِي اللَّهُ بِرَحْمَتِهِ وَفَضْلِهِ, until Allah Ta'ala does not envelop me as well, cover me with His grace. Meaning that each person will only enter into Jannat by means of the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because our deeds and actions are not worthy of being accepted or worthy of that they should warrant us Jannat. So shows us it is not merely our amal, but more important than that is the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. But that doesn't mean that a person should stop doing any good deeds. If it's only upon the grace of Allah ta'ala, then what's the point of me doing any good deeds? If the good deeds are not going to lead to my salvation, those good deeds of ours is what will draw the grace of Allah ta'ala, the rahmat and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. It is that which will become a reason or an excuse for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower us with His blessings. And also at the same time, why yarjuna tijaratan lan tabur? Because we all know that a person can do good deeds, but whilst doing good deeds, shaitan can always twist things, shaitan can always change things, that a person's niyat and intention all of a sudden changes. The person begins and starts and commences a deed, an action with a good purpose, good intention, but then along the line the intention can change, so it becomes corrupt. So because of this corruption that comes about in the deeds that we do, all we can actually have is yarjuna. Just the way a person, when they apply, whether it's for a job or any other application for that matter, you fill in the form and you do whatever you need to, you answer all the questions that you need to, you supply all the documents and all the paperwork that needs to do. And then what do you do? Let's hope. Let's hope that it gets passed. Let's hope that it is right, everything is correct, let's hope it gets done. So you've done it, but on doing it you don't have that hope that I've done it, that's it, I'm going to get it now. So you do what needs to be done, but you have that hope, let's hope that it gets passed. So the same here as well. You do what you need to do, because even there a person knows that maybe there might be something, discrepancies in the documents, maybe we haven't given the right documents, there might be something else that is outstanding, or something or the other complications could come about. So here too, yarjuna tijaratan lan tabur. So what they have is not yaqeen, but they have yarjuna, hope. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being Kareem, but the most merciful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts it from His side. Those people who do the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who do mujahada, and they take hardship and difficulty in carrying out the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards them because of this hope that they have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it shows us that a believer should be yarjuna. He should be having hope. And also on this yarjuna, because this is the mudhari siga, in the beginning of the verse where Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ, the word yatluna here, which is a verb, this is in the mudhari tense. And the mudhari tense, which is the present tense, indicates towards continuity. Which means here this fazilat of إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ kitab Allah is not for those who just open the kitab on the Fridays and he recites Surah Yasin or maybe Surah Kahf. or those who only open the Kitabullah in the months of Ramadan. But yatluna refers to those who regularly and continuously do the tilawat of the Kitab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which shows this is what tilawat should be. Tilawat is something that it should be done regular on a daily basis, and that's why this is referring to the Qur'an. And the Qur'an, not necessarily the actual Qari as we know is in our terminology, but any person who recites the Qur'an regularly is a Qari as well in that sense. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning this, says, يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَن تَبُورَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this place in the Qur'an as well, and also elsewhere, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the example of tijara, trade. That our amal, Allah ta'ala resembles it with trade. Where elsewhere Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions as well, that those people who, the tijara there with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that هَلْ أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَىٰ تِجَارَةٍ تُنْجِيكُم مِّنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Iman with Allah and His Rasul, and striving in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. With all of these, Allah ta'ala there also gives the example of a tijara. لَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَىٰ تِجَارَةٍ, a business. And here Allah ta'ala mentions as well, يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَن تَبُورَ. Because a person, in order to gain something, a person goes into trade, a person goes into business. And in business, a person has hope of what? Profit after all. But the business here in this world is not always just profit and gain, but it comes with loss as well. And the possibilities of loss are just as much and just as equal as the possibility of gain as well. So any tijarat here in this world, there is both. You will gain and you lose, or maybe you'll just lose as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this example as well, that when a person does good deeds, they are also setting off in a trade. This is also a trade, a business. But such a business which is lan tabur, that will never be destroyed, meaning that the profits of it are definite. The business here in this world, the profits are not definite at all. You may not gain profit. But whatever good deeds a person does with regards to the akhirat is nothing but gain. There is no loss in that whatsoever. So it is definitely profitable. That's why Allah Ta'ala says, lan tabur here, that it will never be destroyed. Ma indakum yanfadu wa ma indallahi baq. That which is pertaining and related to this world will be destroyed, and that related to the akhirat hereafter, including the deeds that we do, the good deeds that we do, these are everlasting. So when a person does good deed, they do it without any fear of loss. Because in exchange of their good deeds, we can expect rewards that are everlasting rewards. So that is everlasting profits upon the good deeds that a person does here. So on that basis, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the resemblance of the good deeds we do with a tijara, a transaction. And here in this world, if somebody says to you, look, there's a business proposal, and it is win-win-win, no loss at all, every person will take it. With eyes shut, they'll go into it. And why not? If there's win, then why not? And that is what Allah Ta'ala is saying here, that this business of the akhirat, the trade of the akhirat, is definite, there is no loss in it whatsoever. And the profits are a lot as well. And the profit is, minimum is tenfold, and maximum is 70 plus. So the ratio as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, the minimum profit you're going to get for any good deed that you do is ashram salihah, is what? Tenfold. So that is the minimum profit you're going to make of it, and that is guaranteed. Why? Because Allah Ta'ala is true in His promise. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala isn't going to deceive anybody, loot anybody, na'uzubillah. And neither is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going to become bankrupt, or that Allah Ta'ala's trade in the akhirat, the trade of the akhirat is going to collapse all of a sudden because now too many people are investing in it. That too many people are going for Hajj, too many people are... So now what happened? The stock exchange, the reward exchange has collapsed because too many people have gone for Hajj. Too many people are doing the ibadah in the month of Ramadan. Too many people now are doing the ibadat of Allah Ta'ala. So now it has collapsed now. Too many people have applied for the trade. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's business and trade here, this is something which is guaranteed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward. And the 70-fold is just an example, meaning it will be a lot. Adafan kathira. Allah Ta'ala wants to give, Allah Ta'ala will give manifold more. So lan tabur, and Allah Ta'ala says, لِيُوَفِّيَهُمْ أُجُورَهُمْ وَيَزِيدَهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ شَكُورٌ. This is the business and the trade offer that Allah Ta'ala is giving us. That لِيُوَفِّيَهُمْ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them, لِيُوَفِّيَهُمْ, give them full, ujurahum, their reward. That Allah will grant them the reward in full. وَيَزِيدَهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ, and not only that, so this is related to lan tabur. That where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the trade, the profit will never be destroyed, means that it will never be destroyed, and never mind that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يُوَفِّيهِمْ أُجُورَهُمْ, Allah will give them their full, whatever it is that they are due for the deeds that they have done. But because of yarjuna, because of the hope that they have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah ta'ala will not just repay them and reward them for the good that they have done, but وَيَزِيدَهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase them from His grace. So Allah ta'ala increases from His grace in their rewards. And this is the example I given to you. One deed is one deed, isn't it? But Allah Ta'ala said, no, one deed will be equal to 10 minimum. And more, Allah Ta'ala give as much as He wants. This is what وَيَزِيدَهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. And then on top of that, the reward of the akhirat, in comparison to the deeds and the amal that we have done here, there's no comparison there at all. The rewards of Jannat, no comparison there at all. Min fadlihi, these are solely from the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shafaat on the day of Qiyamah, seeing the didar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having sight of Allah ta'ala. All of these things, the reward that Allah ta'ala gives is nothing but from min fadlihi, from His grace. It is not due to our amal, it is not due to our good deeds. Hence a person should never boast that, look, my deeds are like this, and I am doing so good, and I am doing this, and I am doing that. Because in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is nothing at all. And for the reward that we want from it, we're not going to get paid for it or reward for it because of our deeds. It is only from the grace of Allah ta'ala. Our good deeds, we are discharging ourselves from the obligation, and we are giving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that chance, opportunity to draw His mercies, for us to draw the fazl, the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala towards us. That is what we are gaining from the amal and the good deeds that we do. Otherwise the good deeds itself are not of that stature, it is not of that nature or that status or rank that we should be rewarded from it. So this is that tijarat, this is that trade which is lan tabur, and not only that, but it is profiting, and so profiting that Allah Ta'ala increases in it as well. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is innahu ghafurun shakur, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? He's ghafur, He's most forgiving. And not only that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shakur, most appreciative. Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greatly appreciative of the limited obedience of ours. That we do so little, but Allah Ta'ala appreciates it, meaning that Allah Ta'ala accepts it so much. In a riwayat, Nabi Karim mentions that the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spends in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the amount of a date stone. The pit, a date stone. And then Allah Ta'ala accepts that, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala nourishes and increases it until it becomes that the amount of Mount Uhud. Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He is so shakur, most appreciative, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from it the limited obedience that we have done. And not only that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then increases that upon us as well. That is how appreciative Allah subhanahu, people, insan will never be as shakur, appreciative than that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we are not doing any deeds for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are doing it for ourselves, but because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ghafoor and Allah ta'ala is kareem, for that reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most appreciative of it, hence Allah ta'ala rewards us for it. Further, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentions that وَالَّذِي أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ هُوَ الْحَقُّ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِعِبَادِهِ لَخَبِيرٌ بَصِيرٌ. Allah says وَالَّذِي أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ, that meaning those parts of the Qur'an, مِنَ الْكِتَابِ from the Qur'an, which أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ, that we have revealed to you, هُوَ الْحَقُّ are the truth. And it is مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ, verifying the scriptures before it. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِعِبَادِهِ لَخَبِيرٌ بَصِيرٌ. And without doubt indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Khabir, He is informed, and He is Basir. He is watchful لِعِبَادِهِ over His bondsmen. So, إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِعِبَادِهِ لَخَبِيرٌ بَصِيرٌ. That indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over His bondman is most informed and ever watchful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that which we reveal to you, mean to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, from the kitab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is nothing but it's true. And not only that, but the role of the Quran, one of the roles of the Quran is that it's musaddiqan lima bayna yadayhi. It confirms the scriptures before it. So those who bring Iman in the Quran have automatically brought Iman in the Torah, the Zabur, the Injil, and all the other previous Suhuf and Kutub, all the previous scriptures and books that Allah Ta'ala had sent down to all the Anbiya alayhi salatu salam. Because the Quran testifies and verifies these books as it is. ثم أورثنا الكتاب الذين اصطفينا من عبادنا فمنهم ظالم لنفسه ومنهم مقتصد ومنهم سابق بالخيرات بإذن الله ذلك هو الفضل الكبير. ثم means thereafter. Allah Ta'ala says thereafter أورثنا الكتاب, we chose inheritors. اصطفينا من عبادنا, we chose from our servants. Who? Those who are awras al-kitab, those who inherit the book. So Allah Ta'ala says that thereafter, meaning after revealing the Quran to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made from His bondsmen those individuals, meaning the mu'mineen, the believers, as inheritors of the book, meaning the Quran. فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, of them are those who oppress their souls. وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ, there are those who are moderate. وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ, and there are those who are leaders who advanced in good deeds by the will of their Rabb. ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْكَبِيرُ, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's extreme grace. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions great fazilat of this ummah, and from the fazilat of this ummah, the fazilat of the ulama, as this is a fazilat which is directly granted to the ulama and indirectly granted to the ummah. And that is summa awras al-kitab. Allah Ta'ala says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, meaning granted the Quran to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then it was not just restricted to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and that's it. But then after Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, ثُمَّ أَوْرَثَ الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ اصْطَفَيْنَا, then the ummah are those who inherited the book. Meaning that the book was then also something that was given to us as well. And with regards to this ummah, Allah Ta'ala says as well, اِسْتَفَيْنَا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا, those who we have chosen. So it shows that those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted them ulum of the Quran and the kitab are from those who istafayna, from those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen. And in the general form this refers towards this ummah. And in this ummah it refers towards the believers after all. So the believers are those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen to be inheritors of the book, the Quran of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And why Allah Ta'ala says, أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابِ, to inherit the kitab, Because inheritance is something that comes to a person without any effort. You don't make any effort to inherit. Yes, you make an effort to earn. When you go to work, you earn money. You make an effort there to earn money. But in inheritance, it comes to you. Somebody passes away and you are an heir, because you are heir, then by default automatically that money has come to you, meaning without any effort. So here too, the Qur'an has been given to us without any effort. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam endured great hardship and difficulty, bearing the burden of wahi upon Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And we just open the Qur'an, read the Qur'an, there is no hardship, difficulty upon us at all. So we, without any effort, we have inherited the Qur'an, istafayna min ibadina, and we are from those who Allah Ta'ala has chosen from His servants. So this refers towards the believers. And as I mentioned, this is a great bounty of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala upon us, and we should appreciate this as well. That Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is saying, what istafayna, that Allah Ta'ala has chosen us. For what? For the sake of the kitab of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And ulum and ilm of the kitab we get through the ulama. So the ulama are those who Allah Ta'ala who are a means for us to have access to the kitab of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, to be able to understand the kitab of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and from whom we are able to even learn how to recite the. So when it comes to just yatluna itself, we need the ulama, the qurra. And when it comes to understanding as well, we need the mufassirin, the ulama, the mufassirin, to understand the Qur'an. And then further here Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala categorizes and mentions three categories of the mu'mineen. And these are from the mu'mineen. One Allah Ta'ala mentions is that فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. Of them were those who oppressed their souls. So that is one category. The other is وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ, those who were moderate. And the third is وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ, those who were advanced in good deeds. These are the three categories that Allah Ta'ala mentions with regards to the mu'mineen. Who are meant by these categories? There are various different interpretations and tafsirs. In Ruhul Ma'ani there is mention of 42 different categories here, with regards to who can fall into these. All that combined, and the crux of it is, which is mentioned in Ibn Kathir, the Tafsir Ibn Kathir as well, is that the first one is فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. That one is those who have wronged themselves. Those who have wronged themselves, ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, refers to, and Ibn Kathir mentioned, refers to those who they carry out the wajibat, but along with that they neglect in the wajibat as well, and they also stay away from haram, and they also commit haram. This is فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. So which means that they do carry out various wajibat, but there is deficiency in that as well, that they lack in carrying out all the faraiz and wajibat upon them. They are فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. And then the second category is وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ, that those who are moderate. Moderate means that those who carried out the farz and wajibat, but at the same time they did not abstain from the makruhat, those things which are makruh, and neither did they do those things which were mustahab upon them. So they did the good deeds as well, but at the same time they didn't go the full work, put it that way. And the third is وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ, those who are leaders in doing good deeds, meaning they always did the farz and wajibat, they stayed away from the haram as well. And not only that, but they also abstain from various mabahat as well, so certain permissible acts as well, for the sake of developing their iman. These are those who sabiqun bil khairat, through the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bismillah, through the grace of Allah, through the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that all of these, that a person was able to do all these good deeds, and also for those who sabiqun bil khairat, because they also excelled in performing optional good deeds as well. So these were all through what? Bi-idhnillah, not through a person's own doing, through the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now with regards to all these categories, there are some of that who are of that opinion that فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِ refers to those who do not have iman at all, those who will not be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then majority Mufassirin mention that the fact that Allah Ta'ala has mentioned them collectively as from who? From those who istafayna min ibadina. That they are all from those who we have chosen from our bondsmen. Shows us that they will all be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are many aqwali here of the Salaf with regards to these. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala mentions as well that فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِ these people are those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive on the day of Qiyamah. وَمِنْهُمْ مُخْتَصِدْ are those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make their hisab, their reckoning easy for them. And وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ are those who will enter into Jannah without any hisab. So the conclusion is, as elsewhere Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala mentions, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that with regards to all of these, فَكُلُّهُمْ مِنْ أُمَّتِي, that all of these are from my ummah. And that, and another riwayat is also mentioned, that فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِ on the day of Qiyamah will be those people who, when they see their deeds, they will express regret and remorse. That they could have been so further ahead had they been in the other category. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eventually will forgive them as well. So which means that from all of these, they'll all be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whichever category a person is in. But the difference is that there are different categories here, and each one would want the best for themselves, so they wouldn't want to be in the low category. But all of them will be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Abu Dawud is mentioned that Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala was asked with regard to this verse. To which she mentions that وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ refers towards who? The ashab, the companions of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who Allah Ta'ala himself has given a fazilat radiallahu anhu wa radwan. And وَمِنْهُمْ مُخْتَصِدْ refers to those who are on the path of the Sahaba Kiram radiallahu ta'ala. And then she says فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمُ النَّفْسِ are like people like me. This is for the people like me. Meaning that this was out of her humility, that tawazu and humility that she mentioned, that I am from those who فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِ, that this is how my actions are. And how in here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned these three categories. And the fazilat of all three categories is that they will all be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah. And ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْكَبِيرُ. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's extreme grace. And what is the extreme grace of Allah ta'ala is, Allah ta'ala mentioned this in the next verse that we will do. But this just gives us an idea of these are the three categories and which category we should want to try and be in. So فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمُ النَّفْسِ, some have mentioned are those people who do what? Who don't do good deeds, who do sins more than anything. وَمِنْهُمْ مُخْتَصِدْ, maybe those who are 50-50 as well, who have good deeds and bad deeds as well. And وَهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ are those who abstain from the disobedience of Allah Ta'ala and are always in the obedience of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. On the conclusion of this, the Mufassirin then mention some of the fazilat and the maqam of the ulama-i kiram. Because Allah Ta'ala is mentioning all these with إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ and ثُمَّ أَوْرَثَ الْكِتَابِ. Because the waratha of the kitab are the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. As I mentioned last week as well, Nabi mentions as well, the ulama warathul Anbiya. The ulama are the waratha, the heirs of the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen them as well for this. And in the riwayat, Nabi Kareem mentions that on the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, Ya mashal ulama qumu, O group of ulama, stand. And when they stand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will command them and tell them, go into Jannah. And Allah ta'ala will say to them, Lam adha ilmi fi qulubikum liu'adhibakum. that lam adha ilmi fikum li'adhibakum, that I did not put my knowledge in your heart so that I punish you. So I granted you my knowledge so that I can save you, in other words. So I haven't given you my knowledge. I have not given you the kitab of Allah, the ilm of the kitab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so I punish you. In tariqu, go straight into Jannah. This is the reward, the fazila of the ulama. Which shows how important it is for us to be from the ulama, as in the Riwayat Nabi Sallallahu mentions, kun aliman or muta'alliman, be an alim, be a student. And if you can't be any of from those, then at least be from those who love the ulama. If you can't be from the ulama, you can't be from the students of ilm, then at least be from those who love them. And you will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are from those who love the ulama, who have always served the ulama, Allah, their fortunes are always good. Allah Ta'ala brings good towards them. And history has always been evident to this. That you will find, and people will say as well, that this person, or they say, look, his father or his grandfather would always do ikram of the ulama, had a lot of great respect for the ulama, had great honor for the ulama. People talk about these things. Due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if they had not become alims themselves, or hufaz themselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates what? Hufaz and ulama within the family. And why? Because they always honored the ulama and showed great reverence towards the ulama. Whereas on the other side you have those who are always scorning the ulama. They have nothing else to do. Nothing else to do but to do or to speak bad of the ulama. One alim, his bayan was sent just today. He very nicely puts it. And that is that, when people make niyyah, and this is not necessary when you make niyyah for salat, it is just niyyah in the heart. Or just the fact that you're reading salat with jama'ah. But in the past, people used to make dua, and they did make a whole niyyah as well, that I am performing my salah, salat al-asr ki, 4 rakat namaz, piche imam ki. पीछे इमाम के मुंह में रख काबा की तरफ है किबला की तरफ. Those are not necessary, because where else you standing? You're not standing in direction of anywhere else anyway, and you are in the masjid, so that is going to be pीछे imam ke anyway. And so if you want to make verbal in niyat, you can do so, but it's not a requisite. Niyat is in the heart, and the fact that you've come to the masjid to read your salat is your intention anyway. Because you do have those people who get confused sometimes, and they think it's so important that they're standing there and they're giving a whole bayan there, isn't it? Namaz has already started and they're giving a whole bayan. You mean I.T.A ki masjid mein piche jo Maulana Umar, what's his name again? He's now thinking, is my niyat correct or not? Because I just said Maulana Umar. So do I need to be specific which Maulana Umar? Because maybe there might be another Maulana Umar there in the masjid as well, or another Maulana Umar or another masjid. So did I make the right connection? And then I forgot what name the masjid is. Okay, I forgot the name of the masjid. So maybe he must be Usman. No, he said Umar. I can't remember which one it is, Umar or Usman. And then you get some who, and then they start again, isn't it? They might have just slipped by tongue, they might have said accidentally Zohar instead of Asr. So then what happens is, they start all over again. But it's not necessary to do that, because the fact that it is Asr time, you've come for Asr Salat, you know which one you're doing in the time. Anyhow, this Ali mentions that when the person makes that intention, piche is Imam ke, behind this Imam. It seems that they have taken that so literally, कि वो बस Imam के बिल्कुल पीछे ही पड़ गए in everything. That not just in namaz Imam ke piche, but in everything of life the Imam ke piche. But Imam has got so much money, where has he got money from, where has he got this from, where has he got that from, why the Imam is doing this, why he's going for, why is he doing this, but everything A to Z. Why is he wearing this type of clothes, when did he last change his clothes, why is he wearing so good clothing for, why is he this, that, and everything. So we take it so literally here, that it's not just piche is Imam ke in Salat, but piche is Imam ke piche hi pad gaye. That we don't leave them at all. Isn't it? Anybody else goes for holiday somewhere, or somebody else goes for Hajj. Why do they go for Hajj? Imam Sahib says he's going for Hajj. Why did they afford the 10 grand? Hajj is 10 grand plus. Imam's wages are this much and that. How could he have gone for Hajj and that, isn't it? Imam Sahib has bought his house. You know what I mean? How's that possible now? We've been working our whole lives and we can't. Imam Sahib with this, everything, we just behind Imam Sahib, we looking at head to toe as well. What brand socks Imam Sahib is wearing as well. Isn't it? What type of topi he's got on and what type of jabba is he wearing and everything, we just look in A to Z. And there are those people, maybe we might just laugh at them, we think, no, we're not like that. But they are. They are those. Mufti Ahmad Khanpuri Dhammakatuhu, on one occasion giving advice to the Darul students, said to them that look, when you go out, there's going to be vultures. You know, when a student is in Darul Uloom, he's protected in Darul Uloom. There's nothing to worry about, he's protected in that environment of the Darul Uloom. And he warns them that look, when you go out from here, there's going to be vultures, and those vultures are just waiting for you. To that extent that even if your topi is going to be a little crooked, they'll make a big deal out of that as well. Imam Sahib ki topi bhi teri hai. That his topi is not set right on his head. So there'll be those who won't leave that as well. Imam comes out in Musalla and maybe one side of his trouser is a bit higher than the other, they'll be looking at that. The whole namaz is just looking at that. Look, his trousers, one is above the other. So there are those who won't even leave petty things as well. They'll take out petty faults and petty things of the Imam. And this happens as well. This happens. And there are many individuals and many households and many groups as well, which are just formed there to do what? To insult the ulama and to speak ill about the ulama. And so many homes as well, that's all they do. That's the whole topic. Imam Sahib this, Imam this, and Imam like that, and look Imam's household, and Imam saying this, but look at his family, and look at this and that, and his son, and his child, his daughter, fula, and this, that, everything else. That's all we can see. We can see nothing but just all the negatives there. Whereas he is from those who alladhina istafayna min ibadina. From those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen to put his ilm in his chest, his kalam in his chest. So these are those who are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And because they are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course their responsibility is greater than others as well. And just the way there is the great reward here, where Allah ta'ala will say to them, stand and go straight into Jannah, but then there is the other reward as well. Whereas if they acquired ilm just so that people give them honor and respect, and it is for the sake of acquiring dunya, then they'll be from the first people to be thrown into the fire of Jahannam as well. So with the status, the responsibility is also so great. So that is the responsibility upon the ulama, that the ulama, they are the ones who need to uphold that responsibility. And we, as those who are the followers of the ulama, our duty is that we follow them, and our duty is that we always take them in great honor and respect, and we show honor and respect toward them. If we do so, Allah will give us knowledge. Allah Ta'ala will give us the understanding of deen on that. And not only that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will preserve deen in our lives. Allah Ta'ala will make our children from the ulama, from the Hafiza. And one thing is for sure, those who've always slated the ulama, spoken ill of the ulama, their nasl, their generations, their offsprings, are always deprived of ilm. You won't find a single Hafiz of Qur'an in that family, a single alim in that family at all. And many families will find that they themselves were not learned, but they had a great honor for the ulama. And honor for the ulama is you don't speak ill of them. And the hadith mentions the person who speaks ill of the ulama is a munafiq. Is a munafiq. And Mawlana Shaykh Ahmad Gangohi Rahmatullah mentions that I fear that such a person who has enmity against the ulama, that when they are put in the graves, that Allah Ta'ala will turn them away from the Qibla as well. Turn them away from the Qibla, because the ulama, the Qibla. They turned away from them here in this world, Allah Ta'ala will turn their hearts away, their chests away, their face away from the Qibla. And Mufti Mahmud Sahib Gangohi Rahmatullah mentions that when it comes to ghiba is what? Eating the flesh of your brother. So that is not permissible for anybody to tell at all. But he says even worse than that is the ulama, because he says unka gosht zahrila hai. Their meat is poisonous. And he says you do ghibat of somebody, you eat in the flesh of your brother. So he says the flesh here of the ulama, meaning their ghibat is poisonous. Meaning it will poison your iman. You can even lose your iman if you're going to do ghibat and speak ill of the ulama. That is the maqam of the ulama. And yes, we know there is deficiency everywhere. So yes, there will be people who Allah Ta'ala has given a knowledge and ilm, and maybe they are not living up to that standard and that status that is there. But that is between them and Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And one Salaf has mentioned as well, that's why you don't need to worry about them. Why? Because their knowledge will bring them onto track. You don't have the knowledge, what will bring you on the track? Meaning even if an alim deen and a non-alim deen, if a non-alim deen goes off track, what's there to bring him back onto track? And an alim deen, for example, a person, he has a torch. And he can use, when it's darkness, he can use the torch. But now if his batteries fail or he's lost the batteries, he's still got the torch. He just has to recharge the batteries and he's got his light again. And you don't even have a torch. How are you going to find the way? So if the alim does lose the way, he still has that torch, meaning his ilm, his knowledge, that will bring him back upon it. This way a lot of people object and they say what? That when an alim gives nasiyat to other people, that people say, oh, well, look at his own child. Look at his own children. So that alim deen, he died after all, as we've done so many verses. Allah Ta'ala said to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Inna arsalnaka bilhaqi wa bashiran wa nadhira. This is all that you can do. Rest. He died is in the hands of Allah Ta'ala. An alim deen, if his child goes off the track, we make a big deal about that. Our child is off track, we don't make any big deal. That doesn't matter at all. But the difference is a difference here. That alim's child is off track, yours is off track. But that alim will be rewarded because that alim would not have left his child to go off track on his own. The alim must have made effort on that child anyway. So he's going to get reward for that anyway. And you didn't even bother about your child and your child is gone off track. So you're not going to get any reward there anyway. So this, at least this alim will get reward because he's definitely going to make some effort on his child. The rest, of course, he died is in the hands of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala wants from a wali, a shaitan can be born. And from a shaitan, Allah Ta'ala produces a wali. This is in the hands of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. But after all, we all have faults. But we should not be looking for the faults of any person for that matter. But all the more that of the ulama and the leaders of the ummah. Allah Ta'ala grant us all understanding and grant us all on respect of the ulama, qadr of the ulama. Because this is what happens like everything else as well. From the alamat of Qiyamah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah Ta'ala will take away ilm. And how is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take away the ulama. So this is something which we need to instill within ourselves. And if we have honor for the ulama, our children will have as well. But because we don't have that nowadays, our children don't as well. You see the maktab scene as well, very different to what it was before. For them, the ustad is this ustad, nothing much. But where in the family, in the home, there is that honor of ustad, and the child will also have that as well. Where that isn't the case, and that is the case, and where in the home is, oh, the Maulvi. Isn't it? And any parent says Maulvi to me, I tell them off. Because yes, it is a Maulvi, Maula wala. But nowadays, Maulvi is used as a derogatory term, as an insult. Oh, the Maulvi, isn't it? So I tell parents of those Maulana, say Maulana instead. Because the Maulvi, they just say that because when they don't like the Maulvi, no, the Maulvi, this, the Maulvi. And that is very worse than the mosque man. It was from our kids' time when we were in school and our kids, the mosque man. You know what I mean? The mosque man with the stick. You know what I mean? The mosque man with the stick. So those in school as well, but they don't call their priests and their people the church man, the synagogue man. Isn't it? So they're not the priest, bishop, father, or whatever it may be. So here as well, he is somebody who is not just a mosque man after all. Yes, we might have a caretaker or somebody, but the ustad is not the mosque man. So even now you have some parents who say, oh, the mosque man. If you're Muslim and you're saying the mosque man. First of all, you say masjid, don't say mosque. And on top of it, you also say mosque man. For him, you're taking the ustad, your child, ustad as being a mosque man. Have some respect for him. He's, after all, he's either Hafiz, a Qari, or an Alim, or Mufti even, and you're saying the mosque man. So, and this is those who do say mosque man, we should be teaching them there is no such thing as mosque man. You know what I mean? Say the ustad, say the Maulana, say the Imam. And nowadays a lot of schools, they do understand, when they do get into, they do say, they use the word imam instead now. But a lot of schools don't say mosque-man anymore. There are people who still carry it on by saying mosque-man, but even a lot of schools have understood. And they will say as well, the teacher, or they'll say the imam. So this is all part of how we respect our ulama. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.